You think we don't have hearts? It's just that when we look at the things that you're doing and you're trying to do to America, we've seen the carnage. I mean, for heaven's sake, let's take example. Democrats control the major cities that have the worst murder rates. That's right. Your ideas have been shown to get people killed.
All those cities where they're at least trying to stop people from having these deadly weapons, but still have violence because America is still a country that's flooded in guns, and many of these cities exist in states or beside states where it's relatively easy to get guns and then bring them in. That is Louie Gohmert, and he is feeling the pressure. For him to blow up in that way, I think clearly the attacks against the right, the attacks that declare that they don't care about what's going on because virtually every one of them has no problem with people tomorrow or next week buying the exact sort of weapons that have been used in these attacks. He is clearly feeling it and he wants to lash out. Unfortunately for him, not everyone can sell rage or fury. Not everyone, when they raise their voice, seems tough. And no, clearly I don't think he has it. Is that as unfair, Brett? Just briefly, I don't think he can sell it personally.
Is it fair to call Louie Gohmert a disingenuous tool spank? That is, it's okay. It's fair to do that. You know, one of the main reasons why it's okay to call him a disingenuous tool spank, it's because he is a disingenuous tool spank. This is a guy who, when Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene were clout chasing outside of some building and he was Mr. Tagalong because he's just morphed in every possible way to stay in the spotlight. There's some very embarrassing footage of him like trying to get the crowd to listen and they literally just walk away because he will do any and all things. He and John Kennedy of Louisiana are the two most like, I'm just a local yokel type person who then I'm sure, much like the maester of King's Landing in Game of Thrones, when everyone walks out, he does his little dance and gets back to normal. Exactly, and then when people are around, he puts an affect so he can survive in the world of politics.
Yeah, I think that's more true for Kennedy than Gohmert. I think that Gohmert is playing it up, but I think he's also deeply ignorant. In any event, I do want to give people a little bit of context. What is it that caused Louie Gohmert to freak out in that way? Well, a hearing was going on over gun control, and Louie Gohmert, in addition to other Republicans, were attacked by Eric Swalwell. We're going to show you a bit of what Swalwell had to say.
19 kids are dead. 19 children are dead. And so to my Republican colleagues, I ask, who are you here for? Are you here for our kids or are you here for the killers? Jordan, to say we are trying to dramatically change the country, if trying to make sure that no more kids are put in the ground with a Superman coffin means dramatically change the country, guilty. That's why we're here. Kids are going.
So that is why Eric Swalwell is there. And look, you might say maybe he's going too far saying that they're there for the killer, but bear in mind, virtually every one of the Republicans in that room does not want anything to change that has even a chance of stopping these attacks from happening in the future. Because as we've already litigated 1,000 times, talking about but then not providing funding to deal with the mental health crisis in America is not going to stop this. Limiting the doors is not going to stop this. More money for police funding is not going to stop this. At the end of the day, you have to stop them from having the weapons that can kill dozens of kids and terrify an entire squad of cops. And none of them there want to do that. Louie Gohmert does not want to do that. Louie Gohmert would have loved for the shooter to have been on the other side of a door, but he wanted him to have that gun and that ammunition and that magazine, and he doesn't want to do anything to stop it or make it illegal. And so I want to give you a little bit more of Louie Gohmert and then we'll discuss. Take a look at this.
Cities. We care about people. We care about their lives. And lives have been so trivialized. We care deeply. How dare you? How dare you? You arrogant people attributing murder to those of us that want to do things to stop it? Because we've seen what your ideas do. They create more murder.
Okay, so if you're going to say, how dare you attribute to us murder, you undercut your argument, I guess, a little bit by before that and immediately after that saying that it's their ideas that have done the murder. Okay, well, look, that might seem as if it's like a flaw in his logic or something. No, it's designed to just kick up a little bit of like mud, make it so that nobody can really tell everybody's saying everybody's responsible for murder. So I guess, Brett, how are we supposed to know who is responsible? Well, I will remind you, Louie Gohmert does not want to change any of these laws. He's not interested in doing literally any of that. He instead will turn around and say the people who are trying to make it harder to get these weapons, those are the ones that somehow perversely are responsible for murder.
And let's look at what each side is doing to protect kids, right? When the Democrats are trying to, as placidly as they push for anything, but the Democrats are trying to protect kids from getting massacred in a classroom. And to do that, they're trying to prevent a psychopath from being able to buy a gun. And they're trying to kind of essentially at least move up the age for which, the minimum age for being able to buy a weapon of killing, right? Which I'm for. Maybe put it on par with buying a glass of alcohol. But let's look at, and the right's protecting kids from like knowing what gay people are. There was a country music star who's out, and her kid is going to has to do a project in school, and in that project, it's to talk about your family, and she couldn't do it because her family is gay. And that's the big movement of protection. And Louie Gohmert later in that speech talks about the crocodile tears of Democrats. Crocodile tears is when you disingenuously pretend to cry and then don't really empathize with the people who are victims. That's what the right's doing right now. It's all, Ted Cruz is the worst. My prayers are with all of you. It's really breaks my heart. Fine, what you gonna do about it? Nothing. And then the left's like, how about we just keep the people who use guns to kill who show signs that they might use guns to kill human beings from doing that? How about we just put, if we want to make America great again, let's bring back the assault weapons ban we used to have. Why wouldn't we do something like that? I do want to make America great again. And I do want to protect children. I want to protect them from being gunned down. They want to protect them from what? Queer eye for the straight guy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, their heart breaks. They worry about lives have been trivialized. Talk about Disney some more. Seriously, spend another month talking about Disney. And you're talking about lives being trivialized.
In that same speech, Louie Gohmert says this, and I think technically Eric Swalwell blasphemed. I'm not talking dumb enough.
No, that was Biden. Biden took the Lord's name in vain.
Blasphemed because he said, "Oh God," and he's like parses it out. The biggest blasphemers are people on the right wing who are lying about what party their savior would have voted for. Yeah. These are the schmucks that take over the temple and turn it into a den of thieves where Jesus walks in and be like, what about the loving each other thing? Worse, I'll double down. People on the right are saying that God screws up all the time. That he creates this many gay people. They're calling God fallible. That's blasphemy. Your big creator guy, in your own opinion, sucks by your own logic.
I feel like you're blaspheming, so I would be careful about that.
No,
in any event,
I talk to Jesus every morning. He sends me these awesome hang in there like corporate art photos, like of the kitten, because obviously he would. He sends me like really cool memes.
This is
like that,
blasphemy.
And then he tells me that the right is lying about his language.
That is definitely true, and as credible as any claim to understand the will of the creator of all that is real.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.